How are y'all? It's me, Elaha. Hey guys, and welcome to Elements of Elaha, where I talk about things that interest me, affect me, or am very passionate about. So in my last video, I did a chit chat about how the CW and Netflix can't seem to represent teens accurately, and in this video I am going to be talking about the issues I have with modern black TV shows or shows with the black lead, and the shows I will be mentioning are All American, Black Lightning, Family Reunion, The Upshaws, Dad Stop Embarrassing Me, and Batwoman. This video will have 3 parts. The first part is colorism, the second part is stereotypes, and the third part is trauma. So without further ado, let's get into the color. So in my notes here, the first note I have for colorism is black girls are either played by biracial or multiracial girls, and when a black girl is played by a monoracial black woman or girl, they're usually light-skinned. So the one drop rule is very prevalent in the film industry. You used to be able to see people that look like me and are darker than me from the late 80s to the late 2000s, but post 2000s, like post Everybody Hates Chris, it drastically changed. So it went from black to biracial to even multiracial now. Even white passing biracials can play black girls, and it's very, very confusing to me, because if you look on our counterpart side, black male characters, black boys and black men, who's playing them most of the time? Most of the time it is monoracial black boys and men, people that have 2 black parents. I have no problem with biracial characters in black stories if they are being portrayed as a biracial character. I'm gonna use Samantha Logan from All American as an example. Her character Olivia Baker is written as a biracial character, but when you have people that are half black and half Asian, half indigenous, half white, they're playing monoracial black girls when we have 2 totally different experiences. Then the second one I usually have is when it comes to the couples. Usually it is a brown or darker skinned guy with a lighter skin or biracial wife. And when it comes to that, they usually have families that pass the brown paper bag test. I'll give you 2 examples: Blackish and Family Reunion.
Good. What is this, honey?
It's really ridiculous. Then the next point I have here is usually the darker skinned characters, and usually it's tokens nowadays. Darker skinned women, if you do see them, either one, they are gonna be the eldest, or they're gonna just be the youngest sassy black girl. So usually the dark skinned characters that are women and girls are seen as the bully. They're seen as loud, extra, and ghetto, and they have no character development. So if the character is loud, extra, and mean for no reason, they're gonna keep that same character trait for laughs. So it just completely stunts their character development. How you meet them is how they're gonna close out the show, being the exact same. And so they're always picked on for that. But the lighter skinned girls can have just as much as a nasty attitude as they want, and they'll still be the fan favorites. Still, everybody in the show loves them. But let a dark skinned girl act like that, oh my gosh, all hell breaks loose. They are just treated so badly in the shows. Like, everything the darker skin characters do is a joke. Really? And then the next point I have is, usually if you do have a brown or a darker skinned black guy, whenever they are with people near their skin tone, which are usually brown or darker skin in guys, when they're with brown or darker skinned women is usually when they're on their rough patch. For example, I am going to use the Upshaws and All-American as an example. So in the Upshaws, when Bernard was basically just hoeing around and everything, who was his starter chick? Tasha, a beautiful dark-skinned black woman. But when he finally made it, he got his shop and everything. Who did he marry? A light-skinned black woman. And in All-American too, when Spencer was fighting everybody and everything, his starter chick was a beautiful dark-skinned girl who we don't see enough, Aisha Cooper, who plays Spencer's first girlfriend, Kia Williams. And once he got to Beverly, his love interest went lighter and lighter. So he first started dating off Layla, who is brown skin. She's not too far off, but she is on the lighter spectrum of brown skins. And then his current girlfriend now, Olivia Baker, is biracial. So in the span of 3 seasons, he went from dark skin to brown skin to biracial. Interesting tangent. They didn't think I'd catch that, but they did. But I did. And another note I want to make of All-American is basically, even though Layla is hated on, I feel like she does get more grace than Coop sometimes. Sometimes the lighter skinned characters the lighter skinned female characters in Beverly, they have more room to act crazy than the darker skinned characters. So when they act crazy, they're not seen as aggressive. But tell me why the one time that Coop, the main dark-skinned girl, is asking Layla something, Olivia Baker refers to her as this.
You would have been so proud of me.
I am proud of you. Coop's scary as hell when she's angry.
Real interesting words to use, this writer of the show. And then my last point I want to talk about in colorism, I'm going to specifically use the Upshaws as an example, is Benny completely disregards his 2 oldest, Kelvin and Bernard Jr. Basically acts like they don't exist and forgets he's a father. But his 2 darker skinned children, Aaliyah and Maya, he treats them like princesses, he treats them like royalty, but he treats his other 2 kids like crap. He makes it seem like it's a chore to just be a good dad and just be a dad that's there for his darker skinned children, but with his lighter skinned children, he'll do anything to get in their good graces. Which is not surprising considering how Mike Epps acts in real life. But that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother time. I will link a video dedicated to that situation though. So another thing I want to add is whenever the light-skinned characters are acting crazy and antagonizing the dark-skinned characters, the dark-skinned character is always expected to apologize first. Like in All-American, for example, Jordan started antagonizing Spencer, but Spencer's always the one cleaning up his mess. Spencer is always the one apologizing. Why? Jordan hurt you first. And then it was like he was expecting an apology or something. So then when you try to apologize, the first thing you do is freaking dump your problems on him. And the darker skinned characters are always expected to be the therapist too. Like, why? When you know the light skinned character wouldn't do the same, because guess what? They don't give a crap about anybody but themselves. Now let's get into the second part of the video, which is stereotypes. So I want to do a callback to what I said a few minutes ago. These writers rely on stereotypes to be funny, and lots of those stereotypes are rooted in colorism and misogyny. And so some of these stereotypes are the deadbeat dad, what I like to call the super sperm spreader, because they'll have like 3 different kids by 3 different baby mamas. Then a lot of these times they also use these stereotypes to be relatable. So in almost every Black story too, most of the times the moms are dead. Call back to Dad Stop Embarrassing Me. Controlling dad, the pimp's son, and the disobedient daughter. And some of these shows can be relatable to other Black families, but it only represents a minority and not the majority or different type. Basically, this just puts all Black families into a certain group. So basically, it's like, I'm Black, so I have to act like this, and any time a Black person doesn't do the certain things that these shows are portraying, they're seen as weird, and they're seen as an Oreo, which is just weird, because people love to scream Black people aren't a monolith, but if a Black person doesn't like traditionally Black things, they're insulted for it. Weird. Then lots of these writers that write younger Black characters, they don't know what to do with them. And what I mean by that is usually they don't give them any kind of character development. When it comes to teens, they're seen as basically spoiled brats, and the parents are always seen as the victim. Whenever there's a situation where there's a fight between the parent and the child, even though the child is right, people would always side with the parent, which is ridiculous. Sometimes I can, but most of the times the child is right, but they don't want to admit that at all. And also, I want to call back to my dark-skinned girl statement. Also, another one stereotype that they use for laughs is having the dark-skinned girl be the thirsty one, where the light-skinned girl gets all the guys, but the darker skin or brown skin girl has to hunt for guys. That's also not funny either. Because most of the times they'll be even prettier than the lighter skin counterpart. They just don't want to give them enough screen time. They're just there for their one-liner to be a walking stereotype, and then you never see them again. Then most of the characters that are a part of the stereotypes I just mentioned are one-dimensional, so they're gonna stick to that because I guess that's what keeps people watching. And lots of these are heavily sexist. I could use Dad Stop Embarrassing Me and Black Lightning as specific examples, because anytime that Sasha in Dad Stop Embarrassing Me wants to be a normal teenager, her dad is always shutting her down. So
No. You hesitated. You thought about it. I didn't hesitate, because that should have been the question.
So think of Moesha and One-on-One, but the Walmart version. So you know when people say the things of like, oh, Mom, I want Doritos. And then your mom's like, we have Doritos at home. And so the Doritos you're asking for is either Moesha or One-on-One. The Walmart version, the Doritos at home, is Dad Stop Embarrassing Me. Because it tries to be like those shows, but like the writing is just awful. I mean, you could tell the actors are working with what they have, but the scripts are just bad. Anytime Sasha tries to live her life, here comes Brian trying to tear her down. And so I just know if he had a son, he would let the son do whatever he wanted to do. Because basically the reason why he wouldn't let Sasha hang out with those boys is because he was like that at Sasha's boyfriend's age. Which says a lot. Says a lot about his ego. And when it comes to Black Lightning, I'm pretty sure most of the writers are men, because anytime Jennifer wants to be a teenager, basically where she wants to go to the club, or even when she wanted to become a superhero, Anissa and Lynn always referred to her as fast.
Club 100, would you still let me go? No. Right, because your fast ass shouldn't be going there anyway. You know why they call it Club 100?
And that's one common thing in the Black community. Anytime a Black teenage girl just wants to act like a Black teenage girl, they're seen as fast when she's just having fun. Like, even when Anissa was moving out of the house, that's the time for her to just be, you know, a good sister confronting her little sister. Then out of nowhere, she wants to be like, oh, you're fast, you have a fast behind. And when Jennifer wanted a suit in the end of season 2, she was like to Jeff,
so are we not gonna talk about that fast little daughter of yours? Are you dumb?
man, miss your daughter.
Oh, come on.
Why are you two acting like you were a saint when you were her age? Because I'm pretty sure you weren't. I'm pretty sure you guys weren't. Nah, it really just annoyed me, because I know if they had a son that was Jennifer's age, they wouldn't talk to him like that. But since Jennifer kind of probably reminds him of how they were when her age, then they want to call her fast. No, she's living life. Let her live life, for Christ's sake. She's only fast if you know she's coming to your house pregnant, which she isn't, because she's smart. Because the one time she did want to do it, she asked for protection first. So don't do it, my friend. Right. Don't do it. Don't do it at all.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
And let's get to the third and final section, which is trauma. So, first point I have when it comes to trauma is many of these stories are about a family that is poor and is basically struggling to pay their bills and everything. I mean, I get it. A lot of Black families go through that, but anytime you see a Black sitcom, like, they're always struggling to pay their bills. They're struggling to have power in the house. They're wearing hand-me-downs. Like, come on now. Come on now. But even though a lot of trauma happens to the characters in Black Lightning, I can at least say I'm glad that the Pierces are a good middle-class family. And the next point I have is, usually when it comes to the characters getting hurt, they are the darker skinned characters in the show. Usually they're the ones that are shot, usually they're the ones that are wrongfully arrested, and usually they're the ones that end up dying. Because in All American, oh, the precious lighter skinned people were never hurt at all, but who are the ones shot? Spencer, Sean, and Coop, and they were all dark-skinned. Coincidence? I think not. I think not. And so, also in Batwoman, first episode, Ryan goes out as Batwoman. shot with kryptonite. Luke, who is trying to confront a car thief, gets racially profiled, already arrested, and then when he gets out, he's shot by another racist cop. I'm sorry, I feel so bad for Luke, but if I was in his shoes, I would have just minded my rich black business. Leave this hoodlum alone. Leave this hoodlum Caucasian alone, Luke. Mind your rich black business. Just
ghetto here. You will not bring your ghetto here.
call the cops and go. Because what happened to him is just sad. So anytime that these black heroes want to become heroes, a lot of trauma has to happen to them. So Luke had to get shot, but he eventually finds his dad's suit that he made for him, and then soon he becomes Batwing, and his nemesis is Tavrov, that racist cop that shot him. And like I mentioned before, Ryan Wilder was shot by kryptonite, and when Jennifer Pierce became Lightning, she literally had to watch her boyfriend almost die, and then die. When she wanted to just be a normal teenage girl, one episode after she got in a relationship, her boyfriend was shot. Like she had to worry about her relationship and like just staying alive, which is like ridiculous. I don't know why people hate on Jennifer so much when, like, oh my gosh, she goes through so much trauma and she still manages to be the funniest person on the show. I do have a video coming on that very, very soon. And so when it comes to Batwoman, basically Kate's thing was just being a rich LGBTQ plus hero that also is a billionaire. But with Ryan, like, they just had to take the whole civil rights approach, the Black Lives Matter thing, you know, being racially profiled, being wrongfully locked up, and like it just didn't work. So Kate gets to live her rich life, and then when you introduce a black character, like, she's homeless, she's shot, she's arrested, like racial slurs are hurled at her. Like, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. Why couldn't Ryan be rich? Huh? She didn't have to necessarily be rich, but she could have at least been a normal citizen. And also she was an ex-con too, because she was doing time for her white ex. I wouldn't have not done that, but you know, Ryan is a better person than me. She is a better person than me. Then any of these modern black TV shows, they feel like black people's only threat is the police. Like, so they will re-traumatize you with the police brutality, have situations that are similar to like George Floyd, Elijah McClain, Breonna Taylor, those one, Ahmaud Arbery, or they'll just reenact it, and then they'll have the characters being beat down, tear gassed, shot. Why? Why are you trying to re-traumatize people? Like, anytime this happened on Instagram last semester, we see people reposting it. So why are you guys re-traumatizing us again on these shows? I'm looking at you, All-American, Black Lightning, and Grownish. Come on now. Also, Dad, stop embarrassing me. Dad, stop embarrassing me too. Like, so many more issues, and then you pick the one that hurts the most. I don't need to see it again. It's already playing in my head. There's so much more you can talk about. And one more thing I wanted to add for trauma was I liked calling Black Lightning Season 4 Episode 9 basically the trauma episode. Jalen Brown, you're going to hell. You're going to hell. First 30 minutes were good, and then like out of nowhere, freaking Anissa goes to her colleague's house slash friend's house and like finds him dead, almost gets squashed by a car because she loses her powers. Then, you know, JJ goes up to the ceiling, almost falls splat because she tried to go up to the ionosphere again. Then you see this whole traumatic scene of Lynn getting arrested to show, oh, you know, black women are getting wrongfully arrested. This is what happens. We know what happens when they get arrested again. We don't want to see that crap. We don't want to see that crap. I don't want to see black women hurt once more. Why? Just why? And then, one more thing. They just need to raise their sons. Because people in the black community, seems like they coddle their sons, but they raise their daughters. Coco's treated a way different way by Madeir than Mose is. She babies Mose, but basically is hard on Coco. And like Jennifer's like consistently called fast when, you know, she's just acting like a regular teenage girl, which is a form of, say it with me now, misogynoir. But anyways, y'all, that is the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe because I'm trying to hit 50 subscribers by the end of the year. My last video is in the description, and go follow me on my social medias in the outro. Anyways, y'all, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.